How you guys doing? My name is Marvin, and today I want to talk about faith. How you're supposed to walk in faith, and how without faith you can't even please God. So, as a Christian, we should have faith. We should believe in what we're saying. We should do what the Lord commands us to do. We should walk in faith. Now, one passage I want to look out of, and today we're going to be reading out of the King James Bible, a King James Bible. So we're going to be reading Mark chapter 5, starting at verse 25. This is a situation. Before 25, Jesus is going to the other side of the sea into the country of the Gadarenes. And, he was met with the guy who had the many spirits, the unclean spirits. Their name was legions and all of that. And then as Jesus is going to pass over again to the ship onto the other side, one of the rulers of the synagogues, I believe his name is pronounced Jairus or Jairus, saw him. He fell at his feet. He asked Jesus greatly. He was begging him to heal his daughter because she's lying at the point of death, and Jesus was going to follow him. But as Jesus is following him, we're going to get into that. There's a woman which had an issue of blood. I don't really I guess within herself, she was probably bleeding for 12 years. So let's see what her faith got her. Let's see what her faith did for her. Okay, starting at verse 25. And a certain woman which had an issue of blood 12 years, and had suffered many things of many physicians, and had spent all that she had, and was nothing better, but rather grew worse, when she had heard of Jesus, came in the press behind him, and touched his garment. For she said, If I may but touch his clothes, I shall be whole. And straightway the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of that plague. And Jesus, immediately knowing in himself that virtue had gone out of him, turned about in the press, and said, Who touched my clothes? And his disciples said unto him, Thou seest the multitude throng thee, and sayest thou, Who touches me? And he looked round about to see her that had done this thing. But the woman, fearing and trembling, knew what was done in her, came and fell down before him, and told him of all the truth. And he said unto her, Daughter, thy faith hath made thee whole. Go in peace, and be whole of thy plague. So, let's get into it. Let's get into what happened. So before we start, I want to give you guys a definition of faith, and also give you a definition of unbelief. So what we have, a definition for faith is complete trust or confidence in someone or something. Or another definition could be a strong belief in God or in the doctrines of religion. We know that there's false religions. The only true religion is Christianity, God's religion. So, and it says based on spiritual apprehension rather than proof. So there's a spiritual understanding what's going on. Faith is the awareness of God. Faith is that you know that there's a God, and you follow him, and you follow his commandments, and there is spiritual apprehension. So a definition of unbelief, now listen to this, it's very important. A definition of unbelief is lack of religious belief or an absence of faith. Unbelief is an absence of faith. So let's get into what happened with the lady. So the lady says to herself, If I may but touch his clothes, I shall be whole. So she has a thought in her mind. She says, man, if I can only but touch his clothes, I will be whole. So we see that in her mind, she has this awareness. She has this belief that if she touches Jesus' garment, knowing that he's the Son of God, knowing that he is full of the power of God, that he can do all things, she trusts in God. Not only does she have faith in him, but she trusts in him. Like we said, faith is complete trust in someone or something, whether it be your boss or whatever. But we know that the saints of God have faith in God. So we trust in God. So not only does she have faith in God, but she trusts God with everything. She trusts God with her emotions, with everything that she has. She literally, in the earlier scriptures, it says that she spent all her money on, doctors and physicians to help her, and she spent all that she had. So she really had nothing. She had gave it all, but she still trusted in Jesus Christ. Even though she had seen the results of the physicians, even though it wasn't going nowhere, she still had faith and believed that Jesus Christ could help her and heal her just by touching his garment. So let's see. So after she touches his garment, and the Bible tells us straightway the fountain of her blood was dried up, meaning that she stopped bleeding, and she felt in her body that she was healed of that plague, meaning that she knew on the inside that it had worked, that what she had faith in had manifested, it had worked. So Jesus, being the Son of God, being the Holy Child, immediately knew in himself that virtue had left him. Now I want to look up the definition of virtue, because that is also something that is very important. Also, virtue is like a righteousness, good moral standards. Virtue is something that is good. Something, it has right. Virtue is basically righteousness. Virtue is basically like love, joy. It's like the fruits of the spirit. Virtue. So Jesus felt virtue leave him. He felt power leave him. And he turned about to the press, and Jesus said, "Who touched my clothes?" Jesus said, "Who touched my garment? Who touched my clothes?" And this is one key important thing we should pay attention to. And his disciples said unto him, "You see the multitude thronging thee, or you see the multitude touching you, and you say, 'Who touched me?'" So the disciples were saying, everyone is touching you. Everyone is grabbing at your clothes. Everyone is trying to receive a miracle from you. Everyone is trying to receive healing. But what was wrong? What happened? Why did they touched that probably people touched the hem of his garment. People were touching Jesus. The disciples said so themselves. They said that they were thronging him. So what happened? It's because of their lack of faith. The lady, she came in there with a mindset. She came in there with a belief, saying in her mind to herself, if I touch this guy's garment, I'm going to be healed. Many of the other people, I don't know what was going in their minds. The Bible doesn't say what happened in their minds. All I know is because of this lady's faith, because of the mindset that she had, she received something from the Lord. She received healing from the Lord. So Jesus looked around about, seeing who had about to see her that had done this thing. But the woman, fearing and trembling, know what was done in her, came and fell down at Jesus' feet and told her. But what did Jesus say? This is very important also. This is what Jesus responded. He said, "Daughter, thy faith hath made thee whole. Go in peace and be whole of thy plague." So we understand that without faith, you cannot please God. If you want something from God, you have to believe that he's a rewarder of them that seek him diligently. You have to believe that he will answer your prayers. You have to believe. You have to walk by faith and not by sight. I want to go to another scripture, which is it gives us an example. I believe it's in Hebrews. It talks about all these people that had faith in God, and because of their faith in God, they receive something from the Lord. I believe it's in Hebrews. Is it in Hebrews? Yes, Hebrews chapter 11. So we understand. Now I'm going to read a little bit of it. Hebrews chapter 11. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For it by the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand the words were framed by the word of God, so that the things which are seen were not made of the things that which do appear. So now we're going to get into the examples of people who by faith believed in God, of what God said over them, they believed it. So we have one example. By faith Abel offered unto God a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous, God testifying of his gifts, and by it he being dead yet speaketh. By faith Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was not found, because God had translated him. For before his translation he had the testimony that he pleased God. And here's an important verse. Hebrews 11 chapter 6, what I was saying before. But without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So, sons and daughters of the living God, we must come to God with faith. We must believe in God. We must believe in the promises of God, what he promised us concerning your life, and what he promised in the scriptures. I'm telling you, if you come to God with unbelief, he's not going to answer your prayers, because you don't even believe that he can do it. You must come to God with unbelief. So that's what I wanted to talk to you today. I want to encourage you to walk in belief, walk in faith towards God and what he said. Believe that he's a rewarder of them that seek him diligently. Believe that he will take care of your needs if you seek his kingdom and his righteousness. Believe that when he says that, like I was saying, that if you just seek his face and that you would do his will, that he will take care of all your needs. You got to believe that. And once you believe that, once you walk in faith, nothing is impossible for God. Nothing will be impossible for you. You have faith in your mind and believe that God will answer your prayers, and he'll answer your prayers according to your faith, according to what you believe. So let's stay encouraged in the Lord. Once again, my name is Marvin Signon. If you would like to attend the church that I go to, we are located in the West Palm Beach area. We're called Jesus Ministries. The address is 1750 Osceola Drive. I prayed to see you there. We actually have service tonight, Friday at 7 p.m. Once again, the address is 1750 Osceola Drive. My name is Marvin. We'll talk again.